What's up, y'all? What's going on? Get this thing. Started in the right direction. Yep. Bear with me. Bear with me. Bear witness. Bear witness and bear with me. I should really be resting, but this time of hour, I never can rest. I'm always usually more, my mind is active. My mind is so active. Yeah. So my mind is usually active around this time, so I get to talking. This one I get to talking. The king behind me, see the king. Get out the way of the king. Let the king be seen. Good. Y'all can see me. Y'all can see the king. Good. All right. Y'all might not feel too particular about this topic today. I came out with this message today. Paper trails are to trap you in Babylon. Okay. We're going to keep a video tonight short and sweet. But we ain't going to be too belligerent. So, everybody joining the live. And I know some more people will come in a little bit. Usually people like to get in. Know that I get in late. They come over late. So, tonight, this topic is this right here. What you see. Paper trails are to trap you in Babylon. Now, I'm going to leave you with this. Let me take this off. And I'm not going to be talking too much on that screen, the shared screen. We're going to be talking on the full screen tonight. So, did you see that? Did y'all see that? Y'all saw that? I shared that. All right, so let's get serious, though. Paper trails leave a trace. Paper trails trap you in Babylon. Okay? Number one. First of all, before we get into that, before we unfold that, what we must unfold, before we unfold that, what we must begin to unfold first is the full understanding that you are living. I'm not some people said I was a prophet, but I'm not here to prophesy. But we are living. And I know when people say this, it confuses you. When people say we're living in the last days, I'm going to break that down, what that means. It's not that we're living in the last days. See, they're confusing you with the English language. When you hear the last days, most people are going to think, oh, the return of the Messiah is coming back, or the world is going to obliterate itself and there's going to be no more existence of the human being on this planet. And people tend to probably think like dinosaurs, us going extinct. But that's not what they mean when they say we are living in the last days. When that term is being brought up, what they're saying is that we are no longer living in, let's say, Wakanda, or what was that place called in Avatar? What was the name of that place in Avatar? Pandora. We're no longer living in Pandora, Wakanda, a utopia. When you look at the movie Avatar, you see a utopia. Now, a utopia is a society where everyone is on the same accord, that falls in line with the same beliefs. So utopia is one where everybody in the society, I'm going to be straight about this, everybody in that society looks alike. You know, everybody in the society look alike. And also, they don't only just look alike, but they also think alike. Their beliefs are the same. Their cultural ways are the same. They have the same cultural beliefs that they live and that they practice. Okay? A utopia is when everyone is on one accord, one mind, one thought, one vibration, one frequency. Everybody is on that, right? That's a utopia. And so when they say we are in the last days, what that means is we are no longer living in a free world. We are no longer living in a free society. We are no longer living in a society where it's all about just do what you want, have it your way. This ain't Burger King, okay? You cannot have it your way. This is no longer about having it your way. This is no longer about going about life willy-nilly, freely, and just hunky-dory and nothing's happening. There's a lot happening around you. Every day there's something happening around you on a subatomic level. Now, subatomic level is not a subconscious level. A subconscious level is when things are happening and you sort of know, sense, feel, understand that it is, but you're not paying it too much mind. On a subatomic level is surface. Subconscious is beneath, within. Subatomic is surface level. So there's things happening on a subatomic level. So give me a second. I want to demonstrate that. So when we say, I'm telling you why paper trails trap you in Babylon, okay? So when we say a subatomic level, okay, this is you. Got your hair, that's your hair. These are your eyes, your vision. You're looking outward. Right. That's your eyes, right? This is your hairline. That's your hairline, right? Got your waves going. Got your waves going. Now this is your sight, your vision, right? Okay. So my drawing ain't the best. Got your waves going. Got your ears right there. Ears, right? All right, hold on. All right, so this is you. So this is you. This is like the top of your head. This is the top of your head. And that's your eyes, right? And that's your eyes looking outwardly. You're looking outwardly. Now, what's happening to you on a subatomic level is you have what you see here. So this would be called, sorry, my phone paused. So this would be called your peripheral, right? So this would be called your peripheral vision. So, and then the rest of this is like where everything back here, okay, it will be subconscious. So this would be your peripheral vision, right? Everything behind here, what you can't physically see with your eye, everything behind here makes it to the subconscious. What does that mean? That means that there are things that slip by you. There are things that slip by you, but they really don't slip by you. These things don't really slip by you. They actually go into the subconscious mind. So most of the time we only pick up what we could see within our peripheral sight, of line of sight, our peripheral vision. We're only able to pick up what we can from our peripheral to the front, to the center, and then over here to our peripheral. Everything else that we don't really pick up on, makes it to our, it bypasses or passes us by, but it doesn't get lost. It makes it to the back of it makes it to your subconscious mind. Now, this is, beneath the surface. The subconscious mind is beneath the surface. Let me get another marker. MJ, go in my office and get me a black marker. My son, you're asleep. Sleeping, buddy. Stay with me. Stay with me. All right? Now I'm going to break down the Babylon system, though. So everything here that is in your peripheral, but more so also in your line of sight. This is your line of sight. Now you can see all the way out. You can still see as far as your eye can see. But there's things that as far as the eye can see where the eye can't see, even in front of you. So there are things happening in front of you. This is the subatomic level. There are things that are happening in front of you that you don't pick up, that you don't see. Not what gets behind the peripheral, not what you can't see and it bypasses you peripherally. No, this is things that's happening right in front of you, but you don't pick it up. You don't pick it up. So that's the subatomic level. That's the surface level. There are things that are happening on the surface level, all the way across the board. Okay? There are things happening on the surface level all the way across the board, right in front of you, that you do not pick up. It doesn't even make it to your subconscious because you have not approached it yet. Once you approach it, get it in your vision, you understand. Then at that approach moment, the things that you don't physically pick up with the carnal eye, you pick up with the third eye, the internal eye. And so it moves to the back of your subconscious. What does this have to do with the topic tonight at all? Me telling you that everything is, what did I say? Let me go back to my paper trails are to trap you in Babylon. Now, why did I break all of that down as if it had anything to do with the topic? It does, okay? What I'm trying to tell you is this. There are things that you do. Let me get out of this. There are things that you do in this system that you are not picking up on what you're doing. You cannot see. You're looking and you're getting ready to sign this document, but this is why they put things in fine print. So because that's the stuff that's subatomic. The fine print is the subatomic. So there are things they put right in front of you. And we all done this. We've all taken some papers and did not read thoroughly through them and just signed on a dotted line anyway. And what we did was we trapped ourselves into credit that we don't, we trapped ourselves into debt. We trapped ourselves into relationships. We trapped ourselves into marriages. We trapped ourselves into business deals. We trap ourselves in these places on these levels. When we sign a dotted line, we're actually signing with things sitting right in front of us that we don't read through. So they do things to you on a subatomic level. They do things to you on the subatomic level, and that's in the fine print area. When you're signing something, it's the fine print. That's the subatomic. They get it, they do it to you, and it's right in front of you, and you don't pick it up because you're focused on what's in front of you, not what's on the paper in front of you, but the potentiality of getting this job. So your mind, so even though you're signing and filling out these applications, you're not reading a full job description. You're just like, let me just get this all done and put the basic information in so that I can get this job. See, that's what you see. But on the subatomic level, on the surface of it all, what you're not seeing is what's in the fine print. And that's how they slip things by you. And so I'm here to tell you, don't sign any more documents. And I'm being real about this. I know this sounds far-fetched for you to grasp, okay? But I'm telling you, why is that? Why is this important? Because signing documents is the Babylon system. It's signing over your sovereignty. You understand? It's signing over your sovereignty, your independence, and your independence of the system. So basically what you're saying is you need the aid of the job or the aid of this relationship. You need these things to aid you in the elevation, in the ascension, the ascending of your consciousness, your conscious mind. So I have to awaken you, because you have to understand that signing papers are traps. It's traps in Babylon. It's traps in the Babylonian system. It's traps being stuck in the Babylonian way. And the moment you sign papers, I don't care if it's a birth certificate, a newborn baby, because remember what I always tell you: if it's not natural, it's not right. And nowhere in the ancient realm of our ancestors and where they used to live, nowhere in, let's use Pandora, right? Think about that movie, Avatar. And I was thinking about this. They live in Pandora. This is a utopian world. They got their spiritual beliefs. They got their cultural beliefs. They got land. They got laws. They got language. This is the natural way. Land, laws, language. They don't follow a creed. They don't follow a document. They don't follow a signed piece of statement. They don't sign statements that says this is your role, this is your responsibility. No, that's what they believe about themselves culturally. They sign culturally with their commitment, their discipline, their integrity, and most importantly with their word. See, your word is how you sign a document. You don't sign documents with a pen, because you've legally now inserted yourself into their trap. And I understand you don't want to see it that way. But the truth of the matter is, the natural way is the natural way. This is why I talk and teach a naturalist. That's why I'm a naturalist, and the naturalist is somebody who does everything the natural way. I look at everything simple like this. I say, if me and my wife was to have a baby in the jungle, nobody else around, no doctors, no nothing, would there be a certificate to sign? Would there be a certificate to sign? No. If me and my wife own land somewhere in the rural parts of the world, no government, no nothing, no government, no laws, outside laws, then the work that is to be done, who who's there to give us the application to fill out to say, oh, you got to fill this out to perform this role? No one's there. So I always look at things simple. I look at things very simple. I ask myself a simple question most of the time when I think about these things. I say, if I was off grid in nature, self-sustaining, and I was to have a baby with my wife, or I was to, perform a job that I need to do to tend to my land, do I have is there someone there to give me an application and say, you need to fill this out before you do that? No. Is there some doctor saying, hey, matter of fact, after you have this baby, sign on the dotted line? No. When you sign on the dotted line, beloved, you are giving away your sovereignty. You are selling your soul. This is what giving away your sovereignty is. Selling your soul. You are selling your soul when you sign on a dotted line. You understand? And so you're giving them your energy. You're giving them your promise. You're giving them your commitment on paper. And so what you've done is you've played the game with them. You sign these documents and they make you believe and make you think that you need now, this is your responsibility. This is your role now, because you've agreed to it. But what you agreed to, you didn't say, hey, honey, let's go have a baby. And after the baby, you decide to agree to be a father. No, you agreed to be a father when you took that woman and said, this is my woman, and we're going to have a family. We don't have children yet, but we're going to have a family. That's your agreement to being a father. Did I miss you with that analogy? Let me back it up then and not confuse anybody who's confused on that analogy. You don't have to sign some document to say that you agreed to be a father or a mother. You don't, because that's your natural birthright. Your natural birthright is to be a father. That's your natural ability. Your natural ability that you've been given. This is what you've been given as a birthright, was to be a mother. This is what you've been given as a birthright, was to procreate. You've been given this as a birthright. Because you were born, this is what you're born with. That's your right. But the moment you sign on any document, any certificate, any piece of paper, you're selling your soul and telling them, I agree to the law that you put in place. So now you're no longer sovereign, because you are not adhering to your own set of ordinances, as I talked about last night, your own ordinances. Now you have given your soul to the ordinances of the government whose papers you sign. And the reason why they make you sign papers is because it's a soul contract. Every paper you sign is a soul contract. It is saying you are agreeing to give me energy. Your soul is your energy. It's your energy. Energy, let me give you. Your soul is your Your soul is your inner G, your inner God. Your soul is your inner God. This is your inner G, your inner God. You understand? And so when you give your sign on a dotted line, you are signing away on a promissory note to give them energy, give them your soul, give them the inner God. And when you give your inner God, what are you giving? You are giving them this notion of disbelief that you have, that you're not capable to survive, be self-sustaining, and live all independent of what they offer. You are signing a promissory note saying, I'm not capable because I'm born in this world. I'm just a GMO. I'm unnatural. I don't know how to do life. But everybody that's born knows how to do life. Because you're born with a set of instincts called survival. You're born with survival instincts. And so everybody born is born with this, and eventually will learn how to survive. Now, granted, we're not talking about a brand newborn baby. A brand newborn baby will die if the mother isn't nurturing that baby and giving that baby sustenance to survive. But at a certain period in life, this is why in most native tribes and African tribes and in ancient tribes, you see what they've done. They take the child at a certain age and they initiate the child to say, basically it's a passing the torch along, saying you are most capable of your own survival. That's why in most native tribes and African tribes, they take the son, the boy, out into the wild, out into the wilderness. You understand? And so even Jesus was in the wilderness, right? He found himself in the wilderness, right? And who was it? Who was it that Moses was leading? 40 days and 40 nights. Even they were in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights. You understand? But they leaned on nature. They leaned on the North Star to survive, to survive. And so we have nature to look at, the natural realm that we look at to our survival. But the moment you sign pieces of paper, documents saying, this is my promissory note to you, saying that I owe you my soul for this amount of time. You understand? And so this is why it's important. And I talk about this. I'm building a new program. I won't share much of it today. But this is why in my new program I'm working on, I'm going to be teaching about community. I'm going to be teaching about community and also relationships and community. Relationships are that of the people who think the relationships are those you're supposed to see. Your relationships are what you keep. Your relationships are what you keep. Now, you're supposed to be able to lean on your relationships. Your relationships are important because you're supposed to be able to lean on those relationships. You're supposed to lean on them for your survival, for your understanding, for your growth, for your development. You lean on your relationships, and your relationships have to be people that are like-minded, have to be people that are conscious-minded, and they have to be people that are vibrating on the same frequency that you are vibrating on. So these are the relationships you keep, because the environment that you are inhabiting must be an environment that you continuously produce. And so those people, relationships you keep they have to also produce, not just for themselves, but for you. If they're going to be relationships with you, they have to produce natural, nurturing, healing environments for themselves. So that way, when we come together, we are meshing our natural, nurturing, healing environments together. And so we're leaning now on each other's wisdom. We're leaning on each other's wisdom. Why? Because most people like that are people that lean on the natural world, nature, for their wisdom, for their insight, for their guidance, for their sustenance, for their survival. These are people who are leaning on a natural world. And so it's best to keep the company of people who are sovereign in their thinking. You understand? Holistic in their lifestyle, the way they live, holistic and sovereign in their thinking. So you have to say, I don't need systems. I don't need papers. I don't need you to tell me that I don't need you to have me sign anything to tell me I'm good to do this. I'm good to go on doing this. No, I know I'm good to go on doing this because I know my natural ability. I know my natural gift. I know what I'm capable of. I know what I'm put here to do. I just know what I came with. I know what I come with. I know what I have. I know what I can do. So you're not looking at people who are outside of that thinking. You're looking at people who are only thinking this way. These are relationships you keep. And it's going to be hard as we get older to keep relationships. And the reason is because people are, the older you get, what they say, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. The older we get in age, the set in our ways we become. The more set in our ways. And in times like these, we need to break that. We need to break that. We need to break that fear of not wanting to be uncomfortable. We need to break that fear of saying, I gotta dip, I gotta go, I gotta get out of this. This isn't healthy for me. You understand? And you find people that are sovereign-minded, holistically living. You understand? And this is what their ideas are going to match yours. And their environment, once it meshes with yours, is going to also heal you. Because the thinking and the mindset and the lifestyle is alike. Okay? And so when you are signing documents, you're agreeing to give away parts of your soul. You're agreeing to give away, and I say parts or pieces of your soul because you've signed many contracts and your soul is everywhere. Now, I need you to hear me when I say this. When you sign a contract, you might not like what I'm about to say. But when you sign a contract, of a Babylonian contract, I'm here to tell you that it's perfectly okay to not put in your 2 weeks notice. See, a lot of you get a job and you get this job and you put in a 2 week notice, but you don't even understand what you're doing again on a subatomic level. You don't even understand what you're doing on a subatomic level. What you're doing when you give a 2 week notice on a job is you are allowing them to imprison the part of your soul that you gave them. See, you have to snatch your soul back from them, and you do that by quitting. You don't let them know nothing. And I know you say this is not, no, but this is the natural way. The natural way is to, if it don't feel good, if it don't feel right, if it ain't just, if it's not righteous and just, it's not natural. If it's not natural, it's not righteous and just. And you don't, the thing is this, this video is a different type of video because I got to give it to you brutally honest. People might not agree with me when I say it, while I'm saying this to y'all. But what I'm saying is the truth, that you don't owe anybody. I know you would like to think that. But the natural way is you can be with somebody and decide to not be with them no more and disappear. That's your natural right. I know you think, no, I don't want to do that. That's evil. No, it's not evil. It's not evil to be like, I'm done with this person. I don't need to be with them anymore. Because that's just the way of nature. That's just nature in itself. You understand? You don't need to give a 2 week notice, or you don't need to go through divorce court. But because you sign contracts, you're going to have to give a 2 week notice. And when you do that, and when you go through divorce court, you are giving them your soul again. You're giving the entities of this country or their laws or their system, you're allowing the system to keep a piece of your soul. Because in order to separate, you got to go back through the system. In order to separate your soul, yourself, in order to separate yourself from this job that you no longer want to be a part of, this relationship you no longer want to be a part of, you got to go back into their system and give them, you got to give up a piece of your soul and say, here I am, get me out of this. Now they own that. They own that portion of your soul you gave them. They own that portion of your soul. When you play the Babylonian game, you are playing into their system, their ways, and into their hands. When you get married the legal, the paper way, because I don't want to say legal, because the truth of the matter is, it's not legal to, it's not illegal to call yourself married to someone that you didn't go and sign a paper document with. That's not illegal marriage. That's not an illegitimate marriage. That's just as much as a legal marriage as the one signing a paper. So it's not a legal marriage, because a legal marriage is your word. A legal marriage is your word. That's legal. So when you say, this is my wife, and you give your word to that, that's your wife. No, you don't need a piece of paper to confirm that. You don't need a piece of paper to confirm. And again, when you go to their schools, you go get their education. When you go, I heard someone say it, I forget his name, but he said it best. He said from pre-K to about 5th grade, he said from about pre-K to 5th grade, you are learning to read. And from 5th grade on up, you are reading to learn. From pre-K to 5th grade, you are learning to read. And from about that, from 5th on up, you are reading to learn. Reading to learn what? Reading to learn their system, their way, their laws. See, they indoctrinated us in the schools. They didn't teach us about our African history. They taught us about, you already know what they taught us about, the little 1 month of Black history we get, but they didn't teach us. But you go to college, you go to a university, and sometimes Western knowledge, Western philosophy is a prerequisite. Is a prerequisite on your course, on your degree studies. Is a prerequisite. You gotta study that. But African American or African history is an elective. And so you get to choose if you want to study African history, but Roman and European philosophy, Greek mythology, and all that stuff is a requirement. It's a that's a prerequisite. So you got to go to school, and this is how it is in the whole education system. They're not going to teach you about yourself. They're going to teach you how to survive, how to live within their government. Any monarchy, any kingdom, any empire, any tribe is going to implement their land, their laws, and their language. The 3 L's that I tell you, I talk about is the natural establishment of man. This is why they went in. This is why the Europeans went. They call them explorers, but they're not explorers. They're actually imperialists. They're not explorers. They're imperialists. They're thieves. They're burglars and robbers. They're pillagers. Okay, and so they went into a lot of these lands, a lot of these other countries, and they removed the people from the land and took over the land and implemented in the land their language. So now you can go to Antigua, you can go to St. Lucia, you can go to Dominica, you can go to most of these Caribbean islands. You can go to most of these Caribbean places, these islands. And these are the West Indies. These are the Western Caribbeans. These are the Caribbeans of the Western world. Even though these Caribbeans, these islands are not West, they're actually East. These islands are not West, they're actually East. You understand? And so they call them the West Indies, or they call them the Western Islands, because it's a Western society, it's a Western mindset, it's a Western whitewashing of the mind. And so the people on these islands, you will meet them, most of them speak English. Most of them speak the language of the pillager who came in on the land and took the land. And so what happens is, when they come in, they take the land, they establish laws, and they establish language. Now, the natural establishment of the natural man is to take up land, implement laws, implement language. You're not going to go to most countries you go to. Most countries are going to have a native tongue. They're going to have local laws pertaining to their people, and they're going to have rulership of that land. Now, the government of any country will put you into a Babylonian mindset. I don't care where you at. They will put you in a Babylonian mindset when you sign documents. I don't care where you're at. Now, I know in certain countries, like the Philippines, if you buy land, you own it outright. You don't owe no property taxes to the government. It's yours. When you buy land, that land is yours. You don't owe nothing. But see, when you buy land here in America, you buy a home here in America, you lease whatever, it doesn't matter. The moment you sign documentation, the moment you sign papers, the moment you say, I want to play y'all game, and you sign that paper, see, you cannot buy a home and call it your own. So tell me, how are you free when you buy a home? Tell me, how are you free when you buy a home? You're not free when you buy a home. You're actually trapped into the Babylon system. You're trapped. They own a piece of your soul. And for some people, for the next 30 years, because your mortgage is for 30 years. And so now that they got you on paper, okay, what they did, beloved, was what you did was, number one, you gave them your power. And what they did was, now they have your power and they dangle it over your head, saying, if the mortgage is not upkept on this house, if the property tax is not upkept on this house, we can come and take this house back from you, and you would still be in debt to us. You would still be in debt to us. And so now they still own you. They still own you. I'm going to be straight up transparent with y'all. I'm going to be transparent with y'all tonight. I'm going to be transparent. I have debt that I decided with my life that I would never pay back. I have debt that I just refuse and won't pay back. Why? Because then they own me. I get things. See, I don't get things on credit most of the time. 9 times out of 10, I don't get things on credit. Number one, if I buy it, it's outright. Number one, but number two, you may mess around and have a delinquent bank account. And I've had this happen where I've had bank accounts that I've owed. I would overdraft in my bank account, and then guess what? They closed my bank account, and now I owe them the money I overdrafted in. But I look at them and be like, y'all will never get that money. Not because I don't have it, but because I won't play your game. I won't let you own me like that. I won't let you own a part of my soul by trying to work and labor to get you your money. No. See, I've made up my mind in life that I can buy land and still I can buy land and not have to play their game to do it. I can buy land and not have to play the Babylon game to do it. Now, in this new program that I'm building, I can show you how. I'm building a new program that I'll tell y'all about at a later time. But it's all about self-sustaining survival and sovereignty. Living holistically, thinking sovereign. Okay? And in this new program, I'm going to show you, how. And I don't want, and the funny thing is, I don't want your money to do it. You know what I'm saying? It's not that it's going to be a free project, but what I'm saying is, I'm not after no money. I'm after, I know my purpose. My purpose is to teach. I know my purpose. My purpose and calling in life is to teach. I'm here to heal through my teaching and teach through my healing. You understand? I heal people. I take people on journeys with me, and we heal together. And I do a lot of that work. So my purpose is to heal while I teach and teach while I heal. So I can share with you how to go above and beyond and beneath the Babylon system, where you don't have to sit back and trust me. Let me tell you something. It's nothing strategically thought out. There's no, you don't have to put too much logical thinking behind this. You don't have to put too much logical thinking behind this when I say this. You don't have to be like, well, is it like a e-course or something I got to sign up for? Is it a email list I got to sign up for? What is it? What is it that you're asking me to sign up for? Beloved, I'm not asking you to sign on no dotted line. I'm not asking you to sign no piece of paper. I'm not asking you to do any of that. I'm asking you simply to just take the information and learn from it. And therefore, you'll be better for it. And so I'm not asking you to enroll in nothing. I don't want you to enroll in no university. I don't want you to enroll in no course. I don't want you to enroll in none of that, because I don't want to own your soul. I don't want to own you. I want you to be free with me. I want you to be free with me, and I want you to be free with me to freely learn and understand that we learn from our natural ability. We learn from our 3 eyes. You understand what the 3 eyes are? Our intellect, our intuition, and our instinct. This is where we learn from. We learn from our instinct. We learn from our intuition, and we learn from our intellect. You understand? Or our instinct. But those 3 eyes. And so when we sign pieces of document, we've agreed to learn their way. We've agreed to do it their way. We've agreed to say, no longer am I sovereign. No longer I no longer choose to be sovereign, meaning I no longer choose to be an independent thinker of myself. I want them to think for me. I want them to do the work for me. I want them to guess for me. I want them to give me the answers. I want them to give me the solutions to my problems. And this is what it is when you give up your sovereignty. It is to not think for yourself, not be yourself, not be who you want to be. So you give up your sovereignty, and when you give up your sovereignty, you're really giving up your soul. You're selling them your soul. That's why the Illuminati in the entertainment industry is very real. You understand? Because you're selling your soul to an entity, a program. You understand? And so you got to look at life like this. Stop signing on pieces of paper, because that leaves a trail. It actually leaves your signature. It's your energy signature. They can tell who you are. They know who you are. They know all about you. They know your thinking. They know the way you move, simply by the paper trail you leave, all the things you sign. You know what I'm saying? So they take your home and they dangle it in front of you and tell you, you owe us this and for 30 years, and until you pay it off, it's not yours, it's ours. And so you work constantly, day and night, to make sure they have the money that you owe them. But really, it's not the money, it's your soul. Now I'll go back to saying what I said earlier. I don't pay them nothing back. You understand? I don't pay them nothing back. But there's ways to get land the natural way. And I'll tell you this too. There are people that are giving up land. There's people right now who own land that give up land. And there is no legal document that they sign, but there is a document that they create. They create a document, but the document is only between them two. It's not between the government and the state. The document is only between us. I am signing this paper for you, Mr. Landowner, and say, You are selling me directly to me, not between some broker, not between some real estate agent, none of that. I'm signing. We don't need no middleman. And this is the natural way. The natural way is to not have any middleman involved with that. Back in ancient civilizations, with native tribes and African tribes, whenever they wanted to own something, it was a trade. And sometimes it was the trade of a wife, a woman, the daughter. You understand? Sometimes it was a trade. It was, okay, we want to give you our daughter, for your son to marry, you understand, to keep the bloodlines, pure between indigenous tribe and indigenous tribe, because even though we're separate tribes, but our thinking is the same. We are indigenous. We both believe nature is the way. We both live as natural men. We survive, and we're self-sustaining sovereign beings. You understand? And so that's the thinking. And so the bloodline stays pure. The bloodline is pure between the thinking that the consciousness that passes on. So the consciousness of the woman, the consciousness of the man that come together passes on through the gene pool of the offspring. You understand? So the offspring is carrying that same consciousness now. You understand? And they do what? They pass it on to their children and their children and their children. And so most of the time in ancient civilizations and tribes of native lands, and this is what they did when they traded, when it was an agreement of getting some land or even some cattle, for food or whatever. There was a trading of, maybe again, a daughter, or it was cattle, because you can use cattle for a long time, to survive off of. And there was the offering of, there was the selling of the land. You understand? Take up a portion of this land. And so we have to get back to the garden of our mindset. Start planting seeds back in the garden of our mind and say, I'm dependent solely upon my own intuition, intellect, and instinct. This is how we survive, off of these three eyes. We survive off of that. Our contracts that we make are made through our word. You understand? And you can put your word on paper between you and the seller. You can put your word on paper between you and the seller and say, this is our verbal agreement. But no more do we need to say, I so-and-so am selling this many acres of land, or giving this many acres of land, or trading this many acres of land to so-and-so. Boom, 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 boom. And that was it. Back in ancient civilizations, it wasn't even that. Again, it was the trading of a daughter, or maybe even blood. You understand? Because remember, there used to be blood fusion of people cutting, and they shake hands. That was also an agreement. That was also a natural way. You understand what I'm saying? That's another natural way. I'm not saying let's go cut our hands and do, these create these agreements with blood, but you don't need to cut your hand. You can prick your hand. You understand? But it's the fact of the matter is this: that's natural. Is it natural to cut yourself? No, but it's natural to trade something natural for it. It's natural to give up something natural for it. It's natural to do business naturally. Okay? So we don't trade, we don't sell, we don't buy, none of that under a piece of paper, signed document. Birth certificates, signing your child's birth certificate. I know y'all don't want to hear this. Y'all don't want to hear this, but it's a fact. You understand? Signing your child's birth certificate is only a trap for, men. And I know that this hurts to some women to hear this, and it may hurt some men to hear it. But signing a birth certificate, you understand? Signing a birth certificate is trapping yourself in the system, because now what you did was you double trapped yourself. You double trapped yourself when you signed that birth certificate. You are saying, number one, you're saying one, that you're agreeing to them making you agree to their agreement. You're agreeing to them saying that, them saying to you, do you agree that this is your child? Wait a minute. Do I need to be asked that? Do I need to be told that? Do I need to know that this is my child? This is my biological child? And I'm not talking about the promiscuous people here who just sleep around and don't know their child. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about men and women who consciously get together to have a child, and say, so do I need to agree with you, the system, do I need to agree with you by signing this to remind myself that this is my child? Do I need to agree with you for that? No. Beloved, the times that we're living in is getting worse. And if you do not think that they're only getting worse, you need to think again. They're only getting worse. They're going to get worse. We're living in times where Babylon has made up its mind. It said that we're going to take a certain group of people out. And we could talk about the vaccines another day, but it's more than just through the vaccine. It's also through the indoctrination. It's through the religion. It's through all of these mind games that they play and make you believe that this is what you need to understand who you are. I need a book to understand who I am. I need a degree to understand who I am. You go to school, you get a degree. You didn't learn anything about you. You didn't learn anything about you. To hell with learning economics. To hell with learning financial accounting. To hell with learning insurance. To hell with learning any of that. What does any of that got to do with your human, natural, sacred energy? What does that have to do with your sacred energy? Your sacred energy is bigger than a degree, and your sacred energy is bigger than a pay raise or a salary. It's bigger than any of that. Because the moment you believe that this system, the way that we operate, and I'm here to do this video to say to you, we really have to leave. And I know people think, do we got to leave America to do this? No, you don't. You don't have to get up out of America to do this. But you do have to leave Babylon. You do have to leave the matrix, what we call it. You do have to leave the fake world, the assimilated world. And you have to go and get into the real world. The real world is nature. The real world is natural water source. The real world is natural food. You have to get out of the fake world, the assimilation, and get into the real world. And the matrix, Babylon, is a system of papers and documents and leaving a trail. It's leaving literally, you're leaving a carbon footprint. The paper trail is a literal carbon footprint. So now they can find you. Now they can locate you. And all that stuff is never deleted from the internet. It's never deleted. You think you delete some stuff, but it's never gone. Because the interwebs is a world of its own where things still live. That information, once you create that energy never dies. It only transforms. Once you create that energy and you think when you delete something, you deleted it. No, you just deleted it from your site. You just deleted it from you. But that's energy. And that energy still lives. And that energy is still living in the interwebs. And anytime they want to pull up that, they're going to be able to find that. Because the energy never dies. Just like your brain, the way it operates. There's things that you can remember since you was a child. There's things that you got memorized that you remember since you was a child long ago. Because that doesn't go anywhere. Those memories doesn't go anywhere. They still live. They still live on. They still live on in your mind, in your brain. You can call them up. You can call them forth. So your energy is everything. Your energy is your soul. Your energy is your soul. So thank you, Nandra, for your comment. Let me read some comments here because I've been talking. Correct. Right. Good. Nah, it's a trap for everybody. Yeah. So the system that Babylon, the system of paper, signing documents, all of it. I want to go back to this degree part. You go to school, you go get their degree, you go get their education. What did you learn? Did you learn how to survive? Because degree or no degree, guess what you're going to need to know when stuff hits the fan? Survive. You're going to need to know how to survive. You're going to need to know survival instincts. You're going to need to be able to tap into that. But you've gotten so brainwashed that on the subatomic level, once again, this is the surface, on the subatomic level, they brainwash you with their information, their indoctrination. They indoctrinated you with their education on the surface level, that they made you forget about your natural self. So on the surface level, they taught you all about them, all about their system, all about their ways, all about their laws, all about the way they operate. They taught you that. And on the subconscious level, what you did was you dismissed your own natural ability, your own natural instincts, intuition, and intellect. You've dismissed those things you dismiss those things, and you let them bypass you. You let them go by the wayside. So you don't even have a strong enough skill set for yourself to survive if everything hit the fan right now, and the soldiers came marching down the street and they threw you out of your house, and they threw us in this square, this circle, and told us all get out there and basically survive. Remember that game? Remember that movie? Stone Cold Steve Austin played in it. It's a movie called Condemned. And it's when the people have been condemned from society. They've been condemned from society. And they threw them out there in the woods. And these people will hunt them. People will hunt these people. And so you got to understand, like, that's a reality thing that that's on the surface. That's on the surface. And that's why gun laws is heavy. Sorry, y'all, I'm digging in my nose, but it's not boogers. It's itching right here on this, right here. Okay? So it's not, this is why they're heavy on gun laws and all that stuff. Another topic for another day. But continuing on this topic of Babylon, the paper trail is a trap. Paper trails are a trap. And in this game that they're playing with you, when they get ready to throw you out to the wolves, because they will throw you out to the wolves. How does that look like? Let me break that down real quick before I wrap this thing all the way up. How does it look like when they throw you to the wolves? Do it look like them pulling you out of your home, knocking on your door, saying all homes are now relegated to the government, subjugated, and you've been subjugated to a lifestyle of survive on your own? We've confiscated all homes, and basically we're pulling Is it going to look like that? It's not going to look like, even though that is coming, where they will be knocking on your door soon. Although it doesn't affirmably look like that, them knocking on your door, pulling you out of your home. But it do look like, you ready for this? Go look at the border of Mexico. Remember when Trump was building that wall? It's happening right in front of us. It's happening right in front of us. Remember when Trump was building the wall? And I went and saw the wall that Trump was building. I saw it. My own 2 eyes. So remember when Trump was building that wall? And Trump funny as hell. He said, we're going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it. That's boss right there. See? That's the mindset of a colonizer. Another topic too. So when Trump was building that wall, Americans went to the border. American people went to the border and basically raised hell against the Mexicans who were trying to cross over the border. And so now you see these families living in cages. I did a poem where I said, I did a poem and I said, cranes are raising, cranes are raising high-rise communities, lanes are changing, highway rearrangements into new schools and new industries. And I struggle to wonder, will one phase be made to change our conditions? I petitioned for a new pipeline, and what they gave us was a pipeline to prison. I'll keep it going. Our mayor, Rick Kreisman, has crimson tied to his hands, dripping raw sewage in our waters, expecting our sons and daughters to drink that shit. Blood is tied to the hands of this government, trying to cover up, just like they did in Flint. And when you play the game foul, somehow you just can't hide that stench. And a judge will judge from his bench, condemning the acts while politicians are still in the act of proliferating, configurating this gentrification and how they can put us inside of tents, outside of fence, locking us behind cages. Now that's a homicide offense. A burglary in process. There's an intruder in our projects coming to take our jobs from me, and I call that robbery. Convicting our sons when they flex their right to bear arms because they have nothing left. And when you came, you left nothing but guns. So now another mother mourns her firstborn, never seeing his last breath. I call that grand theft. Another life stolen while you cruise around patrolling for another while you cruise around patrolling for another ghetto political mob to come in and clean up while they ring up on them green bucks until they turn blue in the face. I call them Ben Frank 100s. And frankly, it's been done like this for hundreds of years. So hold back your tears on these racketeers. We can't build a case against them. Not in my hood and neither in yours. But when we come together with our minds, we can build and explore. And even better yet, leave them alone and ignore, because it's time for us to do us and come together with the new trust. Boycotting. Man, that shit's long and forgotten. We trying to own a few buses and trains and planes. We trying to get somewhere. See, when we put our ships in gear, we become amazing engineers, doctors, and physicians. Petition ourselves to hire our own politicians. See, that's how you see change in order to change our conditions. Snap me up, snap me up, snap me up. That's a poem I wrote called Changing Faces. Changing Faces. That poem is called Changing Faces. Okay? So, Mexico looked exactly like what I said in that poem. Locking us behind cages, rating this, putting us inside of tents, outside of fence, locking us behind cages. Now that's a homicide offense. You get it? Homicide offense. So that's what is happening, beloved. That's what's happening. Mexico is displaying that right now. Locking them in tents outside of fence. Okay? And so that's what it's going to look like for us. It's coming to America, where you will be put inside a tent, outside a fence. You can't get in. I tell you, and I reference these movies all the time. It's Divergent all over again. It's the movie Divergent. It's the movie Elysium. It's the movie World War Z. It's the movie Planet of the Apes. It's all of these predictive planning, predictive programming movies. It's all of those. All of those. But movies, just like Avatar, also is predictive programming. It shows us what society actually looked like before Babylon came in. And you seen in the movie Avatar, they had a utopia and Babylon came in. You know, like Plymouth Rock didn't land. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. And then Avatar, Plymouth Rock is Babylon. It landed on the Pandora. You understand? And so dystopia, absolutely. And so going back to the crux of this message, beloved, stop selling your soul. Stop giving them your energy, because as I said before, now say it again, when you sign on a dotted line, you are signing over your sovereignty. That is your independence. And what you're saying is that I no longer believe I'm independent of myself, and I'm not independent of myself. I cannot do this of myself. I need you to help me do this. I no longer. So you put your, what I said, you put your natural instinct, intellect, and intuition aside. You dismiss that, and you picked up their doctrinations, their thinking, their mindset, their learning ways. So you learn from them up here, and then what it does is on a subatomic level, you learn from them, but on that same level, on that same subatomic level, they're washing and wiping away. They're literally brainwashing you. This is what it means to be brainwashed. Okay? They're literally washing your brain of your natural understanding of who you are. They're washing your brain of who you believe you are. They're washing your brain. They're washing your brain, and they're wiping out the data. They're wiping out the memory. They're wiping out from birth all the way up till adulthood, senior citizens. They're wiping out the data of you, of self, knowledge of self, and they give you knowledge of them. And so therefore, once you spent 30, 40 plus years of giving them all of you mentally and emotionally, you don't know how to survive. If you wouldn't know how to, you wouldn't even know how to filter your own water if you was left out. You wouldn't even know what good water looked like. You wouldn't know what natural water looked like. You wouldn't even know what to call natural water, because you have gotten detached. You've gotten detached from their world. You've gotten detached from your own natural ways, and you've gotten attached to their world. So you became dependent, not independent. You became dependent. Comments. Need glasses. Peaceful, restful night. Fernandra, I'm going to get on here earlier for you because you always leaving. I'm going to get on here early for you so you can stay early. Okay? All right. Back to my point. Keep your mind, keep your energy sacred, as I spoke about last night, but keep your mind focused on the natural world. The natural world. I don't pay back debt. And I ain't talking about people I personally owe. I always pay people that I personally owe back, because they're not the ones that are subjecting me to contracts. So I pay people back because that's righteous. That's, even in money form, even if it has to do with money, it's still looked at as a trade. And so when somebody gives me money or pays me for a service, and when somebody pays me for a service, I pay them back if they ask for their money back. In a way, it depends if I did my job or not. But I pay them their service back. I give them back their money if that's what they ask me for, because I might not have provided. Or I borrow money from someone, I pay that back. Why? Because I understand that it's not about the money that I'm giving back to them. It's about the trade, respect. It's respect and trade. We trust each other to trade with each other. So we're trading. Okay? We're trading. I'm going to wrap this up in a few seconds. Give me a minute. I said a few seconds, but give me a minute. So your mindset is not your mindset. Because you are constantly thinking about who you owe, how much you owe them, and how you're going to pay them back. So your soul's been robbed of you. Your soul has been robbed. Your survival instincts and ability is wasted away. You don't know how to go out there and do nothing. And your thinking ability is tinging upon their indoctrination of you. Well, I got to do this because they said so. I got to do that because they said so. I got to do this because I signed the paper. I got to do this because they told me, this is what I signed up for. Stop signing up for things. Because paper trails are a trap to keep you in Babylon. Paper trails are a trap to keep you stuck in the matrix and the system. Paper trails are a trap. Stop signing them. Stop giving away your energy. Stop giving away your soul. Stop giving away your intellect, your intuition, and your instinct. Lean on those things because those are the things that are going to keep you here. Those are the things that are going to keep you in survival mode, because when the stuff hits the fan, and it will, only thing you're going to have left is those three eyes. Is your instinct, your intuition, and your intellect. You're only going to be able to lean on, because when stuff hit the fan, you cannot lean on your psychology degree. You cannot lean on your business degree when stuff hits the fan. Your business education and knowledge that you gained at business school is not going to matter and come into play when it hits the fan. When stuff hits the fan, it's not going to come into play. Your business degrees and your law degrees and all of that other stuff, none of that stuff is going to matter. It's not going to matter. Another thing that's not going to matter is when you are taking an oath to marry someone. Excuse me, my nose is itching right here, and I just got to scratch it. You are taking an oath. When you take an oath to marry someone or to work a job, that's still a marriage. That's still a marriage. Anytime you take an oath, you are marrying that. And you are giving your soul, your energy, everything to that. So you're no longer sovereign. You're no longer sovereign thinking. You're no longer independent. Because you got to think about everything else and everybody else. And I'm not saying it's wrong to find your wife or a husband and not think about them. It's okay to think about them. But your survival is going to come down to, what they say, the first law of man is survival, self-preservation. The first law of human nature. The first law of human nature is self-preservation. So when it comes down to the nitty-gritty and everything in it, you're not going to be able to lean on your wife, your husband. You're not going to be able to lean on the system, your degrees. You're only going to be able to lean on your intellect, your intuition, and your instinct. Those things will kick in. But if you do not work on them, then they won't kick in because you have none. You have no intellect. You have no intuition. Your intelligence is tinging upon what you learned in school. So your intellect, your intuition, and your instinct is not going to. You're not going to be able to know how to instinctively know how to take shelter and know what is shelter. You're not going to know how to instinctively know how to run out there and get water when you need water. You're not going to know how to instinctively know where to go to get your food resources from. You're not going to know how to do that instinctively because, number one, you was not taught that in degree school, in university school. You was taught how to be a businessman and how to be a corporate man and how to be a working man. You was taught all of those things. So instinctively, you're not going to know where to go and survive and get food from your food resources. You're not going to know all of that. You're not going to know that. What you're going to know is nothing. You're going to know nothing. You ever see that movie San Andreas? Remember that movie San Andreas with The Rock? The Rock played in it. And remember the ex-wife, The Rock's ex-wife in that movie was married to a billionaire. This guy was a billionaire. She was married to a billionaire. And in that movie, stuff hit the fan. Shit hit the fan. I gotta say it. In that movie, shit hit the fan. Earthquakes happened. And it was just floods were happening. Bridges were falling. Buildings were falling. And this man had no survival instinct. He didn't know where to go. He didn't know what to do. He didn't know where to run. He actually ran and left his wife. You understand what I'm saying? He actually left his wife. But when he ran right into the thick of the crowd. Where everybody else was doing. Everybody else was running in the same direction. And so he ran with the crowd. And he ended up dying because he ran with the crowd. He ended up dying because he ran with the crowd. He did not take a different approach. He didn't run his own way. And in that movie, when you see The Rock, The Rock was trained in the Coast Guard. So he learned some sort of survival skill. He learned a survival skill. He went into the Coast Guard and learned some type of survival skill through rescue missions. He learned how to deal with when shit hit the fan. He learned how to deal with when shit hit the fan. So he went and got his survival skills through Coast Guard school in the movie. And then through that, he was able to save his daughter. He was able to save his ex-wife. You understand what I'm saying? So it's those type of skills that are going to come into play. Your business acumen and business skills are not going to come into play when it comes to survival. Now, when you play their game, when you play the Babylonian game, you're playing the game by their rules and you're playing into their rule book. And what you're going to do when shit hit the fan, you're going to run the way everybody else is running. When those who know how to survive, who's tapped into their intuition, their intellect, and their instinct, they know way better. They know full well not to go the way the crowd is going. They know to go the other way. They know not to run with the crowd. They know to run the other way, the opposite way. And that's how you're going to be able to tell those who know how to survive and those who learn survival skill in the world when you see stuff begin to hit the fan. But some of you who sign contracts, you're going to commit yourself to those contracts and you're going to stay obligated to those contracts to the point where you're not going to be able to outrun those contracts because you committed your soul to them, not yourself, but your soul. You committed your soul to them. And so you're going to stay in the Babylon, the falling of Babylon. You're going to stay in the system as it falls. And you're going to die with the system because you're going to be chasing hope. You're going to be chasing, there's a way out of this. Somebody else is going to come and save us. Others are going to come and save us. They're going to send in the crew to come and save us. They're going to send in a crew to come and save us. So let's run this way because that's where all the heroes and the firemen and everybody else is coming. They're waiting at the end of the tunnel, for us, to save us. Those who know how to survive are not going to wait for no hero or no fireman or no Coast Guard to show up. They're gonna spring right into action. They're gonna know what to go get. They're gonna know what to go grab. They're gonna go grab it, and they're gonna know what to do. And they're gonna move in that direction. They're not gonna stay put here. They're not gonna stay stuck mentally. They're gonna spring into action and take the other route. So for some of you who don't know, yes, getting vaccinated is contractual. Anytime you do anything, A needle is contract. It's all a contract. It's all a contract. So you got to stay mindful, cognitive, and conscious of what you're signing. You got to stay mindful of what you're signing. And I say this, don't sign nothing. Don't sign nothing. No more signing anything. Because we live in a world, a system that is falling. No more signing anything. The world is falling away. So we're not signing anything no more. We're not signing. And a lot of you are going to sign documents, and you're going to do like that man did in the movie San Andreas. You're going to run the way the crowd is because you think that's where safety is. And you're going to think, okay, as long as I run towards safety, all of my belongings and all of my things are going to stay safe, or at least running that way. I'm running toward the system that will promise me these things back because I got insurance on these things. So yeah, I'll lose them, but I'll get them back because you're going to be running like he did, running toward and with the crowd, because that's the way where when you lose everything, when shit hits the fan and you lose everything, that's where you get it all back at. Running that way with the people. You get it all back running this way with the people. It's all the way over there. So keep running. Go ahead and run with the people. And believe that running with the people back into the matrix, into the system, running with the people is where you're going to get your home that you lost, your business that you lost, your bank accounts that you lost, because you're running. Listen, when shit hits the fan, beloved, forget about your money. I'm being real. When shit hits the fan, forget about your money in the bank account. It's forget about your money. It's about time for us to pull our money out of our accounts and keep cash. And I heard this sister say this today. I was listening to a sister online, and she said the same thing, to take your money out your accounts, keep cash, because that's what you're going to need for trade, because the money is not going to have any value. The money, I don't care where you go, it's not going to, in any country, the money's not going to have any value when shit hits the fan. It's only going to be it's only really going to be good for trade. And even then, not even money is going to be good for trade. It's not even going to be good enough. It's going to be wasted paper. It's going to be paper with no value. It's going to be paper with no value. So you're going to need, gold. You're going to need all that stuff. This is the true contract. The true contract is the natural resources. Attach yourself, connect yourself to nature to the degree of, to the point where you know that nature is the only way you survive. You know that nature is the only way you make it out. You know that nature is the only way that you eat. You know that nature is your only food, your only source. So turn to nature. Turn to nature. Turn to the natural way. Stop signing documents, keeping yourself here. Okay? Keeping yourself trapped. Paper trails are made to trap you in Babylon. Period. So no more signing. We only doing agreements. We only doing verbal agreement. We doing agreements. But agreements are good because it builds trust, which builds community. If I can trust you, then I can almost look at you like a brother. If I can trust you, then I can almost look at you like a sister. And understand now that we are part of a community. We just built a united front. Now we get to lean on each other for our survival. Not money, not material things, but you get to lean on my intellect, instinct, and intuition, and I get to lean on your intellect, instinct, and intuition. There was a TV show, and I'm going to be done. There was a TV show on A&E Network. I forget what it was called. I forget what it was called, but I think it was called Survival. I forget what it was called. Not Survival, not the TV show, Survival. But it was on A&E, and it was these two men. One was an Army vet, and another was a naturalist. I'm gonna go back and watch this show. One was an Army vet, and one man was a naturalist. And this one man that was a naturalist, he walked around everywhere barefooted. He did every episode of that show. He walked around barefooted in the woods, in nature, in the elements. He was always barefooted. Okay, and the Army vet, they was together. And the Army vet, they leaned on each other's instinct, intellect, and intuition. They leaned on each other's instinct, intellect, and intuition. The Army vet, his skills of survival was knowing how to pitch a tent, filter water, build fires, hunt, cut, cook, all that stuff. But the same with the naturalist. He knew all of that stuff too. So it was no different. But they had different strengths and they had different weaknesses that they linked on each other for. And their information that they traded came in handy. And that's exactly what it's going to look like for us. It's going to look like that. We have to partner in the way where we lean on each other's natural instinct, natural intuition, natural intellect. Basic intuition, basic stuff. Not what you went to school for, because none of that's going to matter. Not what you spent 40 years in the workforce doing, because none of that's going to matter. Only thing that's going to matter is, do you know how to swim? Do you know how to go get your own food? Do you know how to filter your own water? Do you know how to hunt? Do you not do any of that stuff that requires you to survive? Do not do any of that. And if not, you're stuck. You're going to be stuck in the Babylon. You're going to be stuck in the Matrix. You're going to be stuck in the fallen world. It's a fallen world. It failed already. Okay? Appreciate y'all. Sorry if I bored y'all to death. I just really wanted to talk about that and get that off my chest. That these paper trails are leaving. We're leaving. These paper trails we're leaving are trapping us. And from here out, I won't sign another document, but I'm telling you not to sign another document. I'm telling you also, stop right now. If you paying back, I know you don't want to hear me, and I know you don't want this. You don't want this. But if you're paying back any debt, stop. Stop, because you're going against your natural intuition. You're going against your natural intuition. You're going against your natural intuition. Okay? All right. I love you. I love me. I love us. Be well, be loved, and be light, beloved, and always remember, live from the soul. Because it's the only way to be.